Welcome to Parent Squad. Today we're tackling a tough topic. We're talking about losing a loved one. We know it can be extremely difficult to process as an adult and often even more so for our children. But there is an event coming up to help. Here today to talk about it is Katrina Fultz. It's called Camp Good Grief, and she is the Indianapolis lead and executive director with Red Crest Hospice. Thank you for being here.
Oh, you're welcome.
Yes, I'm excited that, excited for grief. I'm excited that we get to talk about something that's such a natural part of the human living experience that I feel like doesn't get talked about enough, particularly when it comes to our children.
Yes.
Our society just has the painted picture that everyone just grows old and dies naturally at home in their beds. A lot of times that's not how that goes, unfortunately. So what are some things that kids may feel after a loss?
Kids may feel all kinds of emotions, anger, sadness, and that confusion about what do I do now? How do I process these emotions? And so I think that's where Camp Good Grief comes in. Our Camp Good Grief is a partnership between Indiana University Health and Red Crest Hospice that provides kids ages 6 to 16 with an outlet, a camp where they can experience the types of things, the types of tools that we give them with other kids their age. So a camp that is centered around kids who have experienced that loss, whether it's the death of a parent or a loved one, the death of a pet. Things that affect children affect adults, and sometimes we don't see all of that in those kids because they are kids and they're resilient and so they figure out ways to cope, but we want to give them healthy strategies to cope with their grief.
So when you think about therapy, you automatically picture your child sitting down with someone in a suit, sitting across from them, a one-on-one kind of situation. Maybe the parents are in there sometimes, maybe not. This sounds like a group situation.
It is.
What are the benefits of doing a group counseling experience?
So having our kids, we separate them by age groups. So, little kids with little kids and teenagers with teenagers, because it's important to see that other people are going through the same thing and lean on each other about, how do we cope with things? How do you cope with things? What experiences have you had? What's helped you? And then that way we can focus our education around what we're seeing and what we're hearing. To give them those tools to help cope with those emotions that they might not know what to do with.
Absolutely. And how do you know which one your child might need?
Right. I think
versus group versus just one-on-one.
Yeah, I think really being vigilant in a situation where you know that a child has experienced a loss and seeing how they're reacting, how they're interacting with people. Are they quieter? Do they need one-on-one conversations? Do they need to be in a situation where they can open up to others who are their same age? Sometimes they're reluctant to open up to adults, and sometimes it's easier for them to open up to each other as kids.
Certainly. So personally, I've walked this grief journey as a child and as an adult, losing a very close loved one, both my parents. And so what happens as parents, I think about it from the adult perspective now, you are trying to handle your own grief.
Yes.
And you are also trying to be there and support your children. Is it possible to do both?
I think it's difficult to do both. I think yes, it's possible, but I think being able to handle your own grief and work through that process yourself as an adult, sometimes it's nice to have an outlet for your children, whether it's through a professional one-on-one or a camp like this, where that they can get that experience and those tools and ways, whether it's, music therapy or exercise or things like that we go through in this camp, to show them these are ways that you can deal with these emotions.
And what would you want to say, I think, to the parents who might be a little leery or nervous about doing that? Because automatically with therapy, people think you go there, you're going to cry, you have to face the grief, and it's just going to be uncomfortable. We in our society, especially American society, we kind of just keep moving.
Yes.
We might have our sad moments, but we got to keep moving, especially as a parent, you got to keep going.
Yeah.
But it seems like it's more than just, from my experience, it's more than just sitting around crying.
It is, absolutely. I will say that while there are some tears, the majority of our day is filled with fun activities. And I know sometimes that sounds counterintuitive. We're dealing with grief, but it's going to be fun. We do arts and crafts. We have an activity where we have a drum circle where kids learn to, listen to music and rhythms and how that can center and calm them.
Because I hear you say tools. We're trying to give you the tools. That was the word I wanted to underscore. Yeah. It is some sitting around crying, but the tools are designed to do what? Help you how?
Are designed for those kids to lean into. So if they're having a rough day, and they're missing their loved one, what can I do to feel better? Oh, I remember I can go outside and I can touch something, I can smell something, I can see something, and these are things that ground me and help me process my emotions and the feelings that I have.
And then encouragement for people leaning into it, to want to get them to lean in it. I know we just mentioned, a lot of times in our society, especially as a parent, you're just trying to pick up and keep going.
You do. And I think this is so important for kids. I know that this is our 6th year overall having this camp, our 4th year here in Indianapolis. And we have sometimes parents reach out to us before our advertisement comes out and says, hey, when are you going to have this? My kid says this is what helps them the most, being able to connect with other kids, being able to have a day where parents aren't involved, but we have, social workers and medical professionals and, people who are trained to help process grief on site. And sometimes it's easier to be in that situation where they feel more confident about opening up.
Yeah. Okay, if there's a parent that's listening to this and they think, oh, wow, that sounds amazing, or maybe they even want to be open to therapy for themselves or for their children, what would you want to share with them?
I would say try it and see. It's being held at Camp Belzer this year in Indianapolis. It is such a wonderful experience, and I think giving your children the tools and an opportunity to learn is not a bad thing. So even if you only attend 1 year, it's that much more that your child has grown in being able to support themselves through that grief process.
I like it. I like the word choice. I hear tools and an opportunity to learn. Yeah. And maybe that's what it's all about in the end anyway. Yeah. Okay, so to get involved in this particular camp, what needs to happen?
So we have a website. We can give you that information.
Okay. So they would just go and apply online?
Yep, apply online. It's Saturday, August 29th at Camp Belzer here in Indianapolis.
Okay, so a few weeks to get your ducks in a row, which is really, really good. And why is it necessary to process this grief and not just bottle it up?
Yeah, I think kids take this grief process and what they've learned with them through adulthood. So being able to give them that opportunity to learn how to deal with those emotions helps. We know that kids with unprocessed grief are at a higher risk for suicide and poverty, and we want to make sure that we give our kids the best foundation they can have through this tough time.
We have more info on Camp Good Grief at WTHR.com/Parent Squad. Stay with us because we do have more Parent Squad to come.